Welcome once again to Daktari Explains. We have been doing Internship Diaries. I hope you've been enjoying listening from the various doctors who were my internship family. We've had Dr. Tina Pitcher, that is, tell us her love-hate relationship with career, like we all do. We had Dr. Joy share with us how she was born and she was very sick and there was no hope, and now she's a doctor. We've had Dr. Maria, Dr. Greg, all of them share with us. And I hope you're enjoying. It's been fun for me to actually upload these videos. Let me know if there are things you'd want us to tackle as an in-depth. Meanwhile, let's keep the diaries going.
How did you get to your center?
Here is a story. So normally I'm a medical doctor right now, medical officer. Just finished my internship 2 weeks ago. So for internship, we ballot as per the government system. So we did it online. There was a wheel to spin, and where it stops, the center will pop up where you're supposed to go. So the center that popped up for me was a government hospital, Kerogoya. And that's how I kept planning to go to Kerogoya from the time we spinned that wheel to when we'll be called for internship. Then almost like a week or two to internship, there was all these people changing. People are changing all through, but I think it got a bit, people are changing quite often at this time. But for me, that was not a thought. But it was at a point where I'd say my finances are not so good. So one day I just sat down. I think I should have said, I should never leave it out, is I'm a child of God and Christ is my savior, because he literally runs my life and I'm very grateful. So I sat down one day and I tried to estimate the budgets that I'd need to, first of all, there is the traveling to the place, because it's a government hospital. No one will accommodate you, frankly. And it's been a trend where interns are not paid for the first few months. It's been a trend over the years. For the current interns, I've heard that has changed, which is thumbs up to the people in the government, in the Ministry of Health at the moment. But for us, we knew we would not be paid for the first few months. So I sat down, I calculated the money to travel to Kerogoya. I've never been there before. Looking for a house, because you'll get an empty house for sure. So there's the paying the deposit, paying the rent, buying. In my campus, I live in a hostel, so I had not bought my personal stuff. So I knew I would have to start afresh, buying a bed. What else do people buy? The bed, the mattress, the seats, the cooking stuff and all that. So I sat down and I did a rough budget. It was something around 100 G's, everything, and some things that needed to be sorted at home. And this is a very beautiful story for me, because it starts with Christ and ends with Christ. So I just told Jesus, you know what? I don't have this money. This is your bill. You will handle it. Because he's always handled my bills anyway. And I actually didn't mention it to my parents. So a week to internship, I get a call from a friend who had gone to one of the mission hospitals. And he was like, I just got a spot at this hospital. How about you check Maua Methodists? Now, for you to go to mission hospitals, there is interviews that are done. So people had already done interviews, gotten, those who are selected were selected. Me, I did for a different hospital and I didn't get through past the interview, which I was okay with. So me, I get this call. I'm like, why don't you check Maua? And I'm like, I remember Maua when they came, the internship coordinator at the time, came to advertise, because that's what they do when we're in campus, 6th year, to encourage us to join them. I was like, that place is too far, so I had not given it a thought. But now this thought is brought, and I know internship centers, missions, have accommodation. I was like, okay. So I call, and God is good. The internship coordinator at the time told me, not only do you have a spot, but you actually will get your own house. And I was excited. And I was like, wow. Remember, I just given God my bill. So I go to the government office, and just in the process of talking to different people, I got a friend at Kikuyu, which is another missions hospital, and they told me they have a spot. And I come from Nairobi, and Kikuyu is just here. So comparing Kikuyu and Maua, which is past Meru, of course you know which one I chose. I went to Kikuyu. So me, ndoyo, going to the government office, the director who was in charge of helping us switch institutions for different reasons, but you had to meet him and tell him your reason. So I went. So this time I'm not going for my Maua, I'm going for Kikuyu, which I've been told also has a place. The first change was easy. So I have a letter. Now, first when we got our first internship centers, after the spinning and whatever the government processes, you get a letter that tells you this is your placement letter, basically. So I had the Kerogoya letter. So now I go and I get my first swapping to Kikuyu. So I now have a letter saying I'm going to PCA Kikuyu Missions Hospital, and it has all my names. Now I already have the letter in my hands, and then I call that friend. I'm like, so you say there's accommodation. And my friend was like, oh, about accommodation, we have space for more interns, but they'll have to get their accommodation outside because the accommodations we have are full. Mimi, my problem is accommodation. So that has not sorted my accommodation. I now get into, so I'm like, okay, it's nearer, but it doesn't really sort my problem. So I call, and then now I call back my friend in Maua, and my accommodation is still there. And she actually sort of created some pressure in me to want to go to Maua, so much so that I was like, this place is too good to be true. Maybe it's just another plot or another scam. When someone keeps calling you for something good, normally as humans, we think there's something behind it. So, well, I decided I'm going to pursue Maua. So what I saw at the government offices, MOH, is once you swap your center, they tear the previous paper you had. So they had torn my Kerogoya, and now I have my Kikuyu. So I go back, demanding for Maua. Hey, guys. That very morning I get there. Apparently the med soup at a particular center, which I'll not mention in this case, because the reputation wasn't good, had just gone there and requested that interns be sent to this particular facility. And this, the doctor who had gone to request for that had given a very good image of the hospital and said that over time they've had challenges, but they've sorted them, and they know that interns didn't want to go there before, but now they want interns because they've changed system, they have consultants, they have accommodation. Now I get there and the director is like, why do you want to change again? I'm like, because the first one didn't sort my problem. But because the med soup had come and pleaded, well, there's nothing to discuss. So he tells me about this other, no, it's my third center, because I had Kerogoya, I had Kikuyu, now I'm in my third center. And I'm like, oh, it's also not so far from Nairobi, though it's not in Nairobi. And there's accommodation. Quickly. But in the morning, but me when I went there, I was going for my Maua. So quickly. That swapping didn't even take 5 minutes, because a whole doctor had gone there to ask for interns. I step out, and then I call now the internship coordinator back at Maua, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. I wanted to come, but this is the situation I found, and this is the hospital I've been given. Now I have the third paper from this particular hospital with my name, that is, I've been placed there. And she was like, you have been lied to. It's a lie. I don't think there's they're genuine what they're saying. They're not even a missions hospital. I've been told they're a missions, and I think I didn't know all the mission hospitals. She's like, you need to come to this place. Actually, her words were, go to the director and tell the director you want Maua, period. And I'm like, how do I just go to a director and say I want Maua, period? Anyway, So I'm like, this is not going to go through for sure. But I was determined because I had a bill that I had told God, you fix this bill. So I go back to the office that very day because I was still around MOH as I was conversing with my friend. So I go back. The director sees me and is like, what do you want again? And I was like, the information. No, before I went there, I called the med soup of this particular hospital, the third hospital. And my question was simple. Do you have accommodation? It was like, yes, we actually have a very nice room. It's for the intern on call. That is not accommodation. The room for the intern on call is just the place you sleep for the night that you're working at night. It is not accommodation. So I actually clarified with the doctor. I'm like, so what you're saying is accommodation, we sort ourselves, but the day you're on call, there's a house. I'm like, but that's not the information you gave the director. And then, but I was nice and I just told her, was it a how, him? Don't mind. I just told the doctor, I'll think about it. But the doctor was like, please come, see the place. It's really good. But remember, my problem is not sorted. So anyway, I went back to the director's office. And he told me he's not going to help me. Not because I had swapped too many times. I remember he asked me, why should I do it for you? And I said, because my case is different. He asked me, what is the problem with accommodation that you so badly wanted? And I said, because I can't afford to go and rent a place when the government is not paying me for those few months. And even going and settling there for me, I knew would have been, I would have to like really struggle. So the director told me, unfortunately, I can't get the fourth letter. And I knew one thing. The exceptions with Christ. I actually remember saying, you will have to make an exception. So I refused to leave his office. He had a meeting to attend. And just, he told me he's busy. And I knew the moment I leave him, that's it for me. And I just said, Lord, I need your backing. I was already crying. I was frustrated and all that. So I stood in that office almost an hour. I think he must have thought I was crazy or something, because I was determined I'm not leaving this office. Because I actually told him, but I did not come for this hospital you gave me. You gave me this information. Please give me what I want. So I stood there and stood and stood. Finally, he told me, I will consider. Wait outside. At this time, it's around 10 a.m. in the morning. I waited. I remember interns would come, get sorted, leave. They come, get sorted, they leave. They come, get sorted, they leave. Me, I'm just there. And I'm like, you know what? If I have to sleep here, I will sleep. I was very determined. Because where am I going? So I stayed. Some secretaries came, they would talk to the director, leave. And I think they kept wondering what's wrong with this guy. And I know for all interns, there is this lady at MOH. I won't mention her name because of maybe privacy, but she's extremely sweet and kind. God bless her soul. She's the first person you meet when you go to the room where the director's office is. And she's just nice. And I remember she gave me bananas. She served me tea. I told her my situation. She was like, you wait if you have to wait. Wait for the longest time until you get what you want. So I thank God for having someone to back up my heart's desire. So I waited. Around 1, I went to one of the members there who was aware of my situation and what was going on, because the director had gotten so busy. And I knew she could help me. But I think she was also testing my patience, or how indignant I could be. I don't know. And she was like, if you can wait for 1 more hour or 2 until I'm done with my things, I will help you. Nishangoja siku mzima, what is 2 hours? So I decided to wait. I think this story was supposed to be a brief, but just hear me out, guys. So I decided to wait for those 2 hours. And when they were done, I went back. I think when she saw me, she was like, I will help you. And at the end of that day, I left with my internship letter, the 4th hospital, labeled Maua Methodist Hospital. And I was happy. I remember my father picked me outside MOH. I was like, Daddy, I got it. And I was extremely happy. Things ran quickly fast. There was some documentations here and there. And then there's the day of arrival. And I was like, okay, I know I fought for this Maua, but where exactly is this Maua? And in my head, I thought I'm being sent to some ushago with basically very little people, you know. Ile duka moja iko 1 kilometer away. So, you're just driving and driving and driving. Umefika Embu, you drive to Meru, you get to Meru, you drive one hour and a half further to get to Maua. And especially when you don't know the place, the journey is even longer. And then finally we get to Maua. First of all, the hospital is directly opposite a very beautiful market that is packed with people with all kinds of fruits. And then we get into the hospital. It's so beautiful. It's so peaceful. We got in there and my dad and my parents, my dad, mom, and my sister, we were all of us. And they're like, this is indeed the Lord's doing. Yes. And I just knew I have landed where my heart would have wanted to land. And I thank God. So I had 4 hospitals. Well, yeah, that being my 4th one, Maua. And yeah, I got there. I was given the keys to my house, 2-bedroomed, and I was living alone. It's furnished with fridge, with a whole gas, with beds, with furniture. I literally just went with my clothes and a few personal items. So I really, really thank God. And for any intern out there who has struggles, tell them to Christ. He cares. I think that's all I can say about my arrival at Maua.
Clearly, you've already told us your best moments. So, are there other particular best moments that you actually can remember throughout your internship period that stood out for you?
Wow. Best moments were many. Did I just tell you that this center was God sent for me? Best moments were 1,000. Low moments were there. Best moments. First, the internship group. That very Sunday evening, when all of us had now come from our different places, we had our first meeting. Shout out to Dr. Tina and Gertrude who hosted it. And everyone was so determined, like, we have to meet day 1 before we even get to know anything about this place. We have to meet. So we met, we ate, we were also happy to meet. There was this, one of us was full of energy, and I just knew this is our family. And that's how our family, internship family, started. We had fun, so we ate so many times together. And there are people there who used to cook. You'd think you're in Kempiski every day. Shout out to all the ladies in the team. The guys would always sort movie days. It was just a blast. So the team I had to do internship with, for me, that was every time I'm with them was a best moment. Another best moment was achievements as an intern. The first cesarean section that you do alone. Of course, your seniors are aware that you're in theater, you're intra-op, so that if you scream, they show up. But they let you do it to get your confidence. And it was very effortless, very spontaneous, delivering that baby, handing the baby to the nurses to take care of the child, and the child was okay. That first yes sticks, and it's just a moment when you're able to do your first debridement alone. That is when people come with cuts and wounds and things like that, and you've done a lot with the surgeon and emos, and then you're told you're the primary doctor for that case, and you're there in theater and you're washing the wounds, and then you're given a thumbs up for that. Inserting chest tubes, all those achievements and milestones, I think for any intern, those are best moments, because you're very scared when you start, and then when you're done, you're like, I did it. My other third moment is I had very beautiful, I celebrated my Valentine's Day last year with my patients. I was in pediatrics rotation, particularly in the nursery, newborn units, and we had a Valentine's event with my patients, the moms and their babies. We had flowers. that is good. And having to manage challenging cases, there was a baby born at 900 grams. And I remember we discharged that baby at day 60 something inpatient. We had stayed with the baby and the mom for over 2 months. The child had gained kgs to around 1.9. And then later, the mom sends me a photo of the child, so plump, kaboom boom. But I'm like, is this the baby that was this tiny? And just being able to take care of babies in that setting, and to the point they are discharged, and having a patient, now in this case the mother, who is so happy that they actually send you a photo of the progress of their child. For me, that was another best moment. Should I continue my best moments? Because I don't think I'll ever
highlight moments. I think you could also be having like 3 low moments where you had. Tell us.
Low moments. My first low moment was maternity. If you're a doctor, you know how maternity does for you. When you're an intern, I think I was so exhausted that night, and I was on call, and things didn't go well, because I think at some points I was not reachable. Luckily, as an intern, there's someone above you. There was the MO who stepped up and took care of the case. But of course, I had to be disciplined, because you don't want to do that. I think what I learned from that lesson is communicate if things are not okay, because no one expects you to be at your best, but it was a whole case. But I learned proper communication in that setting. Yes, I think that was my lowest. The other low moments, losing patients is never a good thing. And I think sometimes it's not even the losing, it's when you break the news to especially the immediate relatives. Like when you lose a child, it pains you so bad. And then now when you have to break that news to the parents, if you thought you're feeling bad, now you feel really, really bad. It's not easy. The system does not give you time to debrief or even breathe. You finish, you give the bad news, and you move to the next patient. You'll go cry in the evening or find a way to deal with that yourself. So that was another low moment. I think, I don't know if I have a third one.
No pressure.
Yeah.
How do calls run where you are?
Being on call, okay. I think for us in mission centers, because we don't go as many interns, in our setting we were 8 more interns. You're on call twice a week. So hey, let me explain nicely. So it either be on call Monday, Saturday. So in that week you're on call either Monday and Saturday. So you used to call it Monday, Saturday, or Tuesday, Thursday. That is Tuesday and Thursday. Or if you're lucky, there's 1 week you're on call once. That's a Wednesday, or Friday, Sunday. So a month has 4 weeks. Out of the 4 weeks, only 1 week that you're on call once, which will be the week that you land on Wednesday. So if you're on call on Monday, what does that mean? It means you work that Monday during the day, how our calls run. And my mom always kept saying, that is, my mom used to say that's child abuse. But anyway, I don't think so. I think it's just the system. So you work on Monday, and as an intern, you're in the ward by 6:30 sometimes, just to keep things running, and you leave as late as 7. And then, so you work that day, and then call starts at 4:30. So, and if let's say you're in maternity, during calls, being on call means you'll be called. So you're not necessarily in those, you could be in the house, but you'll be called. So you cover 2 departments in the evening in our setting. So if it was maternity, you do maternity and pediatrics. So you can be called from either peds ward or maternity and gynecology wards. So sometimes it even overlaps. You've not finished your day stuff, you already gotten into your call. So you start your call at 4:30 all the way to 7 a.m. in the morning. You go back to the house, you freshen up, and come start your Tuesday. Then you run that Tuesday your work, you'll rest Tuesday evening. So you're call at night, but it doesn't mean you don't work during the day. as compared to what I saw the nurses. For them, it's shifts. Whoever does at night goes to sleep in the morning. Whoever worked in the day does not work at night. For us, yeah, for us, that was it. So again, Saturday, if you're doing now Monday, Saturday, that means you're probably covering that weekend. So you'll work that Saturday daytime, you work Saturday night when you're on call, and then Sunday you'll show up to work as normal duty. So you'll rest Sunday evening. So those were how calls were, but I've interacted with interns from other places, especially those who go to government hospitals. They go as many interns. I know interns who are doing 2 calls per month. I'm like, wow. Oh, wow. For us, it was 2 per week. Calls are not funny. It's dreaded when you're on call. It gets to, you're actually anxious when you're on call. If you're on call on Tuesday, ikianza asubuhi hivi, you're not even thinking of your daytime problems and issues. Your brain is in the evening, 4:30. You're just anxious, you're unsettled. That phone call could just ring anytime, and crazy things happen at night for some reason. People, in the evening, that you'll see someone will just come with blood all over the place. Then call could be so crazy that you won't rest until the following. So that's how calls were running, and we were running with the calls. Yeah.
You've given us quite a story. After that period that you had your internship, I'm sure there are people who are actually watching you and they are looking to be doctors or something like that. Would you say that it is worth it being a doctor? Is it fulfilling? All those kind of things.
It is. Without a shadow of a doubt in my heart. I love my career. Go back. It's fulfilling to take care of patients. And I'd say this, though I know someone could attack me, sometimes even losing patients. You look at sometimes what patients are going through. Someone is 90 years and above, 100 years and above. And sometimes even the family has already accepted what's happening. And even losing patients sometimes is the peace that is needed to let them go rest. So in everything, with all the challenges, my career is a fulfilling place to be.
So what next?
What next? I think, like I said, my story, my life has been from Christ to Christ. I think when the Bible says from Him to Him, through Him, by Him, I'm a living evidence of that. Oh, I have done theology, by the way, so you get my background now. Yeah, Jesus and I are besties. So I do have desires. What next is to wait. Maybe work a few, but definitely want to go back for my master's. And my end goal is to own my own hospital. When are you coming home, Cynthia? I said,